body awareness is abating. Only an arrhythmic breathing and the erratic palpitations of my heart remain. Though these, too, are beginning to fade, thus loosening the last anchors tethering me to this reality. The connection with the very vessel which translates light into form and creates my experience of life is dimming. In other words, death. But, I am observing this happening, thus I cannot be the one dying, can I? The sometimes erratic missed steps in the beating of my heart brought the fear of death, forever stranded in an omnipresent dimension of shifting shapes, forms, and colors. Although, in retrospect, it begs the question of it being any different from this reality? Aside from coherency and the altered flow of time, the details of perception are the same. I come to be consumed by darkness, regressing back into the infinite expanse of void within. That backdrop in which the waves of light and sound ripple into motion, the evolutionary impetus towards greater creative expression. Submerging into the depths of the origin of existence, the void of infinite potential. Before the light, there is darkness. That space which allows the ripples of vibrant light to exist. Let there be light. Boom. The spectrums of color come in waves and haze. Light merging, separating and flinging each other about in a kaleidoscopic dance upon the stage of perceptual awareness. After a time, they finally merge and meld into more complicated patterns, coalescing into a sequence of forms and shapes. Something akin to reality as most of us know it, but with less immersion and fleeting in sequence. I suppose condensed would be the word. Infinity in snippets of visions imbued with sensation, of which I can only surmise to be glimpses of past lives. Not just glimpses though, but instantaneous momentary reliving of the entirety of lifetimes. At one moment, the orb of awareness is gliding through the cosmos at unimaginable speeds, unrestricted by physicality. Now existing as an orb of self-aware perceptual intelligence, limitless omnipresence localized as an individualized photon fractal of its source light. Light speed does not equate, time itself is no barrier in this state. All possibilities exist simultaneously, for existence is infinity incarnate inside itself. That being said, I was not in control of myself, I was at the whim of another. The all-pervasive intelligence, of which we all are individual aspects of, guided me on my way. As I drift within the void, trillions of stars blinking in and out of awareness with such rapidity. These pulsations make it all appear as the static from the old televisions when you had no channel to receive. This is fitting, as I currently have no channel from which to experience an expression. I am not tuned in to any channel. At some point, this orb of I am, the electric hum of individual beingness, feels the sensation of focusing and initiating. As if perception was diffuse, and is now beginning to hone in on a star or channel to observe. As the focus intensifies, all others fade from awareness and the light, once again, begins to separate and colors start their kaleidoscopic dance. A new experience of light into form, the next story, begins to play out. From the views of cosmic travel, I come to be projected back onto an Earth far removed from what I was familiar with. I was now in what I believed to be southern France, pre-gunpowder era. There was no reference point to tell me this was France, but somehow I knew it intrinsically. I was thrust into the midst of a battle, and I was a combatant. We were fighting with spears, mainly, and it was not long before I became a spectator drifting above the battlefield. I have now left the body in death and had not realized it, and I am now drifting away. Swaying back and forth like a pendulum of perception, rising ever higher. The periphery of vision begins to distort and dissolve again, evaporating back into the source of light through its fiery emissary. That infinite ocean of light and sound. The manifested waves of frequencies rippling upon the void of potential. I was fading away, watching the last bits of a battle I no longer have any stock in, drifting ever higher. The erosion of visual reality closes to completion and I, too, evaporate back into the source, engulfed in light for the next scene to begin anew. Much like the progression of a play, one scene ends with the dropping of the curtain of light, then the light begins to differentiate itself into differing shapes, colors, and forms. Manifesting the next act from the epic drama that is life eternal. The next scene materializes, and I am now dressed in tan overall khakis with a cotton long-sleeved shirt, hand in hand with my 6-year-old daughter as we stroll down the dirt road, along a wood fence encompassing our property. Wheat fields shimmering in the midday sun on our right. The wood line of old-growth forest to our left, with its vibrant emerald green contrasting the field's golden hue. It is now the 1700s, I know not where. The scene was brief in vision and yet full in experience. There was no mother in the scene. Yet I felt, that she was no more, death taking her in exchange for our child. I could feel the memory of her through our daughter's hand. As illogical as it may seem, I still held the feeling of living an entire life, though it had passed in the blink of an eye. These things are hard to convey the immensity of lucidity in the moment of experience. We are so accustomed to understanding things by way of the senses, and cannot fathom a wordless, time-bypassing, bestowment of experience from within. That space through which all life emerges, as flowers burst forth from the soil.